Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Smitty and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. Obviously this video has come out a couple of days after the recent patch update first contract. So as you can see, they've updated all the fancy UI. We now have reputation, money, science and lovely things to play around with to kill Kerbals. I mean, to do science on Kerbal, oh bloody hell, nothing I can think of will actually make this sound any better. So without any further ado, we might as well check out the new building, which is Mission Control. Hello there, Gene Kevin. So what have we got? We got launch a new vessel. So what do we do? Group of clerks from Kerbin, World First Recording Keeping Society. That's a mouthful. Felt really undecided about whether none of us knew for sure if we definitely did not know what we were doing. It is true though that the way we would often see an apparently not bad accident was part of the why in any case, as you can imagine, this is where you come in. So it just needs to get a vehicle to launch. No problem, we can happily accept that one. And we need to set an altitude record of 5,000 meters. Again, not too bad, I could happily do that one. These ones are going to be tricky. So the secret that we truly had no idea if being in 0G was really awesome as it seemed. So we can do these later on, if they're still available. For now we'll do the ones we got active, which is get a new vessel and reach an altitude of 5k. So without any further ado, let's get building a spaceship. So let's get ourselves a little command pod. Let's get ourselves a couple of fuel tanks. A little engine. And it would be nice to have these, but these weigh a ton anyway. It would be nice if it said how much it was, empty and full. That would be rather nice. Does not help. Does not help at all. Oh well. Which I'll just have to assume that that will be enough to get us into space. Let's hope. Or if not into space, at least for a minimum altitude of 5,000 meters. And whilst we're here, we might as well do EVA reports. Flying this close to the ground is definitely not overrated. Indeed, very good job. Right, get yourself back on board and a crew report. You find a kettle and supplies container and start to beg Mr. Control for permission to stop what you're doing and have a cup of tea. Sounds like an awesome idea, but we're just going to store that. 50% throttle. Okay. Please don't explode. Hey, bonus, it did not explode. So now we shall begin our very steady ascent, and whilst we're ascending, with the SAS turned on, we can go over what's been added in this version of Kerbal Space Program. Obviously, if we turn our camera around and just disappearing off where my cursor's hovering, you can see the Kerbal Space Center's Mission Control building, which controls all your new contracts, which are currently random generated things and aren't set in stone as to what you're going to get either. And there'll be things like what we're doing now, get to a certain altitude. As you can see in the top right, we now have two. We've got contract complete, which is pretty darn awesome. In fact, we could have got into orbit with a bit of diddling around, and I've just realised something absolutely horrific and horrible. We didn't put parachute on it. Let's be first that flight, shall we, to vehicle assembly? That's not my fault. That's not my fault. Didn't know. We didn't know. Let's try that again, shall we? It's a do-over. It's a mulligan. My only mulligan I'm allowed to do. Right, set the control group properly. Rocket engine its own. Rocket Man! So back to what I was saying, there you can see mission control. That will control your contracts, and then you'll get things such as so let's say for example we'll get a mission to test a certain part that we haven't unlocked yet, so we could go on to test a new type of fuel tank, a new type of engine, a new parachute, command module, whatever, and then the requirements to complete it will be launch it, get it to so high, test it, come back down again. Easy, simple, done. Let's do a crew report. Look out the window and see a piece of your rocket fly off. It wasn't that important anyways. So there we go, we're now getting really hot. And that's it, rocket is burnt out, so we can just turn off that engine. As we just fly gently upwards. We're actually getting pretty high. We could have done the other contracts actually and probably got into Kerbin atmosphere. Well, we're certainly ascending rather well. Did a bit of throttle control, we probably could have done it, but oh well, c'est la vie. Approximate apparatus of 43,000 meters, so we'll do our EVA report once we get that high. And we are still flying. If we are technically now in orbit. Dang it! We should have done the other contracts. Oh well. We got much more powerful stuff with the first bit of science anyway, which is always handy. So close, and yet so far. Still can't believe we're technically ascending in a sense. Oh well. EVA report. You might be okay for a few minutes. Yeah, and we're in the upper atmosphere, which is rather nice. Okay, now time to accelerate our buttons back down to Earth. And we'll set the altitude this thing deploys up to 800. So there we go, the hatch is ready. And Steam, I've got, is open. So thankfully you don't get to see these messages because the overlay is only set to record Kerbal Space Program. Descending, descending, descending. I'm afraid I might have buggered this up a little bit. 100 meters fully deployed. And we are pretty much safe. We're just going to bounce a couple of times so as these take the impact damage. Because this always happens with me on first rockets. 200 meters, 100 meters, 60 meters, 50 meters, touchdown, and and we're down. Let's do it. UVA. Jebediah, you crazy fool. Right, to take a surface sample, you pick up a small creature with far too many legs. Mission Control denies the request to keep it as a pet, but we can have a pet and we can call it Dave and it will sit there and do things for us. Oh well, we shall plant a flag. And this site shall now be known as the first flight. And we got to the edge of space. Let's do it again. So there we go, right. Jeb, you need to hop back on board. And so that way we can recover the vessel, and this is where the second part of the update comes in. So we get a science report here, so we get a crew report of flying over Kerbin shores, 3.5, EVA report from the upper atmosphere, 5.6, surface sample from Kerbin, 9, and recovery of vessel that's survived flight 5. Pretty nice. So we've got 28 science overall. And our next bit is the fun, so we get money back for the command pod, money back for the fuel tanks, money back for the parachute because they all survived. We also get money back for the fuel, and we got a little bit of extra funds as well for the fuel tank we brought back, but sadly we have none left, so that's a zero, but it tells us how much it cost altogether, so we're in the net positive right now, which is rather nice. And then finally crew, Jebediah is now available for new missions. We get 47 reputation versus 25 for bringing back Captain Kerbal. So there we go, archives, launch new vessel, so we've got 5 extra science, 11 rep, and 11 rep also for setting the altitude record. We can now do these ones as well, so we can try and escape the atmosphere, we can orbit Kerbin, and we can set our altitude. And these are the fun ones, where we can just do tests for various parts of it. Now we can test the Mark 16 parachute in flight over Kerbin. We can test RD-10 solid fuel boosters in flights over Kerbin. we can test a stock decoupler orbiting Kerbin. So this one's going to be good if we go for the Kerbin orbit. So that's mission control to the science lab to unlock new parts. So might as well unlock our basic rocketry kit, and now we have 23 more science to spend. What could we buy? What shiny things could we get hold of? Let's get hold of these, because we're going to need the aerodynamic nose and the winglet for the next bit. Because what we'll show you is for our next episode is I think we shall test the solid fuel boosters in flight, and we'll test other things as well as get the orbit and escape atmosphere. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, favorite, subscribe and all that YouTube jazz. My name has been Smitty, and I'll see you next time.